Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first ever webinar-based board of directors meeting for the society. Probably not the last. The board at this point would entertain a motion to begin the meeting.
I'd like to make a motion that we start the beginning of the meeting for October 25, 2020.
Second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion by T.S. Morgan, seconded by John St. Dennis. By consensus, we will begin the meeting. Again, I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar. We've been looking forward to having one of these for actually years. I've been trying to plan on it for quite a while, but unfortunately, the pandemic kind of got in the way of that, ironically. At this point, the panelists that you see before you comprise the entirety of the board of directors, as well as many of the officers that will be giving reports today as well. Not all officers can make it, so their ombudsman will actually make the reports for those officers. Just kind of give us a little bit of grace today. We're going to work some bugs out, I'm sure, but we're very much looking forward to being able to provide this type of content and this type of transparency to the SCA moving forward. Just a quick little record keeping note. During the course of the meeting, please, if you have any questions, put them in the comments box. And directly after the adjournment of this meeting, we'll have about a 30-minute break, within which we'll take a break, as well as look over the questions and choose a selection of them to answer at a answer session directly following the meeting. So that, once again, that will be that session will be 30 minutes following the adjournment of the meeting. So stay tuned for that. Finally, I'd like to just quickly introduce myself. My name is Craig Carter. I currently serve as chairman of the board of directors. The other directors online with us right now are John St. Dennis, who currently serves as vice chairman of the board. Directors T.S. Morgan, Natalie Degerstrom, Ross Regner, Dan Watson, and Gigi Colson. Also joining us is Director-elect Jennifer Krockmall, who will actually be stepping up onto the board of directors at the end of following the end of this meeting. So having said that, we'll go ahead and get into our agenda. The agenda should be displayed for you on the screen. And as you can see, we need to go ahead and move into item 2, approval of minutes. LLF?
Sorry, had to find my unmute button. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to present the August 8th, 2020 conference call minutes, the August 18th, 2020 conference call minutes, the September 1st, 2020 conference call minutes, and the September 20th conference call minutes for your approval.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes for August 8th, 2020, August 18th, 2020, September 1st, 2020, and September 20th, 2020, as presented.
We have a motion by Dan Watson. Is there a second?
Second.
I think that
I'll give it to Gigi.
Gigi, very good. We have a motion to approve by Dan Watson, seconded by Gigi Colson. By consensus, we will approve the minutes as presented. Just for the sake of the audience, everything that you'll see on the agenda today has already been in front of the directors for weeks for viewing and reading and studying and all that. So when we do something like this and we go ahead and either approve these minutes or moving forward, approve or not approve other things, that it'll have been after some discussion, but a lot of study by everybody, doing that voting. Moving on to item 3, recurring business. Liz?
Okay, we have no new branches this quarter. I have a routine change in status, the advancement of, I'm going to mutilate names all day. The first trial share of Glenn Duvin in Ontier, Jackson County, Oregon, has been advanced to a barony. And I would ask the board to take note of that.
Very good.
There are 2 groups that went from incipient status to full status, both in Drakenswald. The new Shire of Airhouse in Helsingborg, Sweden, and the Shire of Reingarda in, I'm going to mutilate this one, Skellefteå, Sweden. Both have been moved by their kingdoms from incipient to full status. I would like the board to take note of those. And I have 3 dissolutions for for groups that have gone inactive below their membership numbers. The Shire of Griffin's Keith in Ethelmark, the Shire of Frosted Hills in the east, and the Shire of Smithwick in the east. And I would like the board to approve those, since corpora requires that only the board can dissolve a group.
Very good. Is there a motion to approve the dissolutions of these groups?
Mr. Chairman, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move to accept these dissolutions as presented by the Society Seneschal.
Second.
Great. We have a motion to approve by Natalie Degerstrom, seconded by Ross Regner. By consensus, the board will accept these dissolutions. And I believe that's the end of the recurring business section. Thanks for the presentation of that. And the board does take note of all the things you indicated. Moving on to item 3C, quarterly meeting schedule. Renee?
Yes, I want to point out for everybody that the days of the regularly scheduled meetings have moved from Saturday to Sundays now, especially since we're virtual. There's no need for travel and people don't need to burn through vacation. So I'd like you to take note that there is a change both on January 24th and April 18th.
The board does take note.
Thank you. Your invited guests, I would suggest we continue with all officers are welcome to attend.
I would agree. I think that at this point, if there is a director elected that time, as well as any officer presenting a report, they're all invited to these meetings as they move forward.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And right now, the quarterly conference call is tentatively scheduled for December 1st. If that is a problem for anybody, please email me before I schedule it, and we can adjust it. So that's it. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for your work on that. Let's see here. On to item D, warrants, LLF. You'll need your unmute, LLF.
Sorry,
That's going to
I
happen
believe
a
I
lot.
have one warrant that was submitted. I will get that to the board. I'm not going to mention it here because I believe it falls under the officer's report.
Very good. And if you want to move on to item E, ongoing projects, I believe you own both of those pieces of business.
Actually, John St. Dennis owns the board recruiting.
I see.
Yes.
That's true.
Right.
I'm sorry,
So good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Currently, we have 30 nominees to the board of directors. They are pretty much spread out all over the known world, especially North America, excuse me, I stand corrected on that one. We are always looking for new nominees to the board. If you are interested or have someone you would like to nominate, please let us know at recruiting@sca.org. Thank you.
Very good. And item 2, board representation.
There is none right now, at least physical, that we're looking at because of the travel restrictions.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 4, old business, mission statement, introductory revision. Jessica?
Oh, yes. So we did receive hundreds of comments and hundreds of suggestions for the mission statement revision. So thank you for all of those. We really appreciate your commentary. That period ended on October 1st, so I will be going through that and incorporating many of them for review at the next conference call.
Absolutely. And there's another subpart of this, the Finland commentary.
Yes, we did receive like a larger rewrite as well. So we'll be looking at that and incorporating as much as we can into it.
Very good, perfect. And I would like to echo Jessica's thoughts. I mean, we received an amazing amount of great wisdom and thoughts on this, and I'd like to thank everybody who took the time to provide their commentary. Moving on to item 4B, corporate changes for the Marshal's Office. It's either Ray or Natalie.
That would be Ray.
That would be me. My predecessor had put in recommendations for the Marshal's Office. I'm not sure for Kapora from the Marshal's Office. I believe all y'all have had a chance to read it, unless you want me to read it out as well here. But it was put out for review for comment, and I haven't. Not sure what the next step is. Sorry,
That's fine. I believe at this point, and just for the audience's sake, this is Ray. Ray DeBose is the new Society Marshal, and this is the very first meeting with us. And of course, it's during this venue, which is, I'm sure, both confusing and frightening for him. So we'll go ahead and move. we'll move forward with welcome. We'll move forward with, I believe at this point, since these corporate changes have gone out for commentary, all the commentary has been returned and all of that. I believe at this point, the Marshal's Office is requesting the change to corpora that is provided in the packet. The board would entertain a motion if one needs to be made.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the changes to corpora presented by Ray, our Society Marshal, as proposed.
Second.
We have a motion by Natalie Degerstrom, seconded by T.S. Morgan. Is there any further commentary on this? Again, just to hold that. Again, we've had the time, weeks, to look at these changes and have already had a chance to review them. Is there any further commentary on this? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 Very good. All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much for that, for the presentation of the corpora changes. Moving on to item 5, new business, COVID-19 variances. Liz?
Sorry, it took me a moment to find my mute button there. The board's proclamation cut down amazingly on the number of variances that had to be granted this quarter, but I still have 4. Most of them are from Drachenwald, which was not covered. Drachenwald asked for a variance to delay its Nordmark coronet tourney and investiture until February. Same with the Principality of Insula Draconis. They also asked for a variance to allow a baronial investiture to be changed from a published date. They found they were able to do it without site restrictions and get a site earlier. I approved all of those. There was also a variance from Callantyre. They wanted a variance to their Kingdom Law, which requires a court of arbitration to be held at an official event published in the Kingdom newsletter. They wanted to do it via video conference since in-person events can't happen right now. All other requirements for the court were to be followed. I also granted that one. I would ask the board to approve those COVID-related variances.
Mr. Chairman, move that the Board of Directors confirm the variances issued by the Society Seneschal.
I'm sorry, just 1 second. LLF, did you have a question before that motion is made?
I ask that these be done one at a time, please.
Oh. Okay. Don't have a breakout here of the various variances.
Liz, do us a favor. Go ahead and list the variances one at a time, and we'll make a motion on each.
Okay, I can do that. Drachenwald variance to delay the Nordmark coronet tourney and investiture until February of 2021.
And Mr. St. Dennis, did you have a?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, move that we confirm the variance issued by the Society Seneschal for Nordmark for their baronial investiture.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion by John St. Dennis, seconded by T.S. Morgan. Any further commentary on this variance? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion carries. Next.
Drachenwald, a variance to allow the baronial investiture for the barony of Knights Crossing to occur on an earlier date than was published. That was publicized extensively via the Kingdom website and Facebook.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board confirm the variance granted by the Society Seneschal to Knights Crossing for their investiture.
Second.
We have a motion by John St. Dennis, seconded by T.S. Morgan. Any further commentary on this motion? Being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Please continue.
Okay, from Drachenwald, variance to postpone the Principality of Insula Draconis coronet tourney and investiture until February 2021.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board confirm the variance granted by the Society Seneschal for the Instalanus Draconis investiture. Hope I got that right.
Second.
We have a motion by John St. Dennis, and just to change things up, a second by Gigi Colson. Any further commentary on this matter? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, last one. From Callantyr, a variance to their Kingdom law in order to allow them to hold a court of arbitration via video conference instead of at an in-person event.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board of directors confirm the variance granted by the Society Seneschal to Callantyr to hold a court of arbitration via virtual means.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Motion by John St. Dennis, seconded by T.S. Morgan. Any further commentary on this motion? There being no further commentary on this motion, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much for working through these COVID-related variances, Madame Society Seneschal. And I think you do have the next piece of business under item 5B, Sanctions, Procedures, and Policies Manual Revision.
Oh, yes, so I do. I had submitted to the board some revisions to these sanctions procedures manuals and policies manual. You all had time to review it, and I would request that the board approve the changes. They involved, the biggest change was to the administrative actions section. I fleshed that out and defined it a little better because some things had been removed. There were other minor changes involving notifications and confidentiality rules and so forth.
Very good. And again, as I said in the past, we have had lots of time to study through these revisions. So at this point, the board would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Sanctions, Procedures, and Policies Manual revision as presented by the Society Seneschal.
Second.
We have a motion by Gigi Colson, seconded by Natalie Degerstrom. Is there any further commentary on this motion? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you very much for that presentation as well, Liz. We're moving on to
Chairman, I need to make sure that we get a clean copy for the stock clerk's office.
Very good. Liz, can you take care of that, please?
That will be done.
Very good.
You.
Thank you very much.
John Fulton. Mr. Fulton's got his hand up.
I see. John?
Yeah, first, I'm sorry I can't find the damn chat window to put in raised hand. I just have a quick question for Liz about this, please. Liz, this does not include the removal of the lack of appeal for the sanction from the presence yet?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. You might want to mention that. It is
Okay,
kind of
sorry. Did not think to mention that. Yes, that was one of the changes that I made. Was it's been said before that the removal, if a crown imposes the sanction of banishment from the royal presence, that was not subject to appeal. Actually, corpora says that anybody can appeal anything. I did put a note in there that since this one, crowns have very broad powers to make this sanction, an appeal might be less likely to be heard, but it can be appealed.
Thank you for that clarification. And again, just to evidence one of the things that we just kind of noticed, given there's so many panelists, it's very difficult for me to understand if you have a hand up or not. So if anybody sees a hand up, or if you want to put a hand up, just go ahead and indicate it via voice as well, because it's difficult to see when everyone's portrait is the size of a dime. And it's hard to also monitor the chat as well. Moving forward, looking at item 5C, Gigi.
I'd like to ask the board of directors to take note of Julie Reynolds' award removal request.
The board does take note. Thank you. Item 5D, John St. Dennis.
Yes, I request that the board take note of the chivalry resignation of Max Sumner, known in the society as Equus Maximus Amaricus.
Very good. And the board does take note of that as well. Officially. Item 5E, Mizelle, 2021 budget.
Okay, where do I begin? Well, as everybody knows, the corporate office has not been doing that well. We do have the investment funds that have been keeping us going, and thank you to everybody out there that has renewed their memberships and and donated money to the organization to keep it going. We do appreciate it. We really do. One of the things that we will be facing, though, with some of the people renewing for multiple years is that it will affect our revenue stream for the upcoming year. We took a look at it, and of course we can't really have a normal budget like we normally would. And so we looked at both at one half of the revenue stream, and then at 2/3 of the revenue stream. And we both, in the board and some of the upper officers, we decided that we were going to go with looking at a revenue stream of half the revenue that we normally would have in a normal year. It unfortunately is going to mean that we are going to be severely in the negative. Now, to try to remedy some of that, of course, we have our investment funds that we can draw from, but we're also looking to cut down on some of our expenses. First of all, we have cut out all travel expenses for the upcoming year. No in-person board meetings, which that alone will save us $70,000 to $80,000 for the year. We are also looking at some other factors, such as reallocating our investment funds to be more revenue stream there to get us some extra money there. Let's see. We may not have to have a audit for next year, but we do have to look into whether we might have to have an audit based on some of the other states besides California that we do business in. With California, you have to have it's $2 million or more in revenue, and right now we are certainly looking underneath that between the corporate office and all the US-based groups in combined, and that including the subsidiaries. We are definitely, operating well below that. Let's see. Insurance probably won't change very much. We did get an $18,000 credit from our insurance company for 2020. But as that was pretty good. That had helped a little bit for this year. But as groups start moving back to hoping, you know, starting to have events, and of course they're having fighter practice and stuff like that, we won't be able to get another discount as we begin operating again, as we have. I mean, we're looking at some possible additional ways of cutting the budget down, but some of those will not really affect us for this year. They're more long term. And so right now, the bottom line is with what we have, and I really need to have a little bit more time to fine tune this, but right now we're looking at a negative $347,000 budget, which is not really the best place in the world to be. So does anybody have any questions or anything they want to discuss?
Yeah, I have something, Michelle, really quick. Just to be clear, it's not the corporate office that's doing poorly. It's the corporation in general that is
Correct. Right, because even the group, even the groups themselves are operating at a loss. We did a mid-year review, gathered up all the information from all the groups in the U.S. for to give to our insurance company for that help with the reduction, and as a whole, they are operating at a loss. So yes, it's affecting all of us.
Renee, did you have a question or comment? You did not.
No.
Anybody else?
No, that was my comment.
That was it.
We're fine in the corporate office.
Ross Regner?
Yeah, I have a question for the benefit of the folks watching. That sounds like a very scary number, being that far in the negative. And I would just like to ask you to kind of explain what the impact of that is, just so that they understand that this isn't the end of the SCA as we know it.
Correct. It isn't. This is just, it's the budget based off of certain, certain expenses that we do have. Of course, the revenue stream can change. I mean, it's based off of membership and also the NMR fees. And, without knowing when we're going to be back to operating full stream, it's kind of hard to predict where we're going to be. The best thing that we can do is, keep up our memberships. We do have almost $1 million in our investment, and so we do have a money stream. We really do. So we're not broke. We're not broke by any means. And but it is scary out there, and we're looking into some other options. We've got a revenue committee that has been formed to look up at different types of revenue besides just membership and NMR. And we're still in the planning stages. We'll probably hope to have something more concrete in for the January board meeting. I do want to throw out one item that did come up, kind of humorous, but something to think about. Somebody mentioned pay-per-view, and so some people started to think about having pay-per-view fights. So if kingdoms want to do something like that, go for it. So brainstorming. Anybody out there, if you want to email me at treasurer@sca.org and you have suggestions about how you think the SCA could earn some revenue, hey, I'm more than willing to read your emails and pass along the comments and stuff, because this is your organization. We're just here to be your sounding board. So membership, pass the word around. Looking for suggestions.
Very good. John St. Dennis, you had a hand up?
Yeah, I did. First off, I wanted to thank Ms. L for all the work over the last couple of months. Putting together just a budget for this organization is a huge task. Putting together 3 is a remarkable set of output. The other thing I'd like to point out is that we are looking at some things that would be long term, that would not impact cost savings immediately. Yes, by all means, if you've got ideas, folks, let us have them because we're open to suggestions.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, just very briefly, we are actively looking, there's subgroups and committees and different individuals looking at different ways to take away cost and to add revenue. So we're trying to uncover every stone to do so. Dan Watson, you had a hand up?
Yeah, I just also wanted to add that for the folks out there that are listening, that you know, one of the reasons now that we have are experiencing less revenue is because our membership is not specifically tied to all of the things that we do. And can you hear me? Okay. Oh, thank goodness! I thought I was on mute again. I just like the people that are out there that see all of the incredible things that the different kingdoms and local groups continue to do, both online and within their small groups, are really important. We want people to continue to have that rich experience, and we're doing everything we can at the corporate office to try to reduce costs and keep things going. But your memberships continue to be important, especially now that we aren't receiving NMS fees or other sources of revenue. So thank you for your consideration in that.
As a point of clarity, the NMS fees that have been discussed are the non-member surcharge fees, which stem from having events. Any other? Oh, Director Regner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did also want to thank, in addition to Mizelle for all her work, Renee, you've been incredible as well, and Dick, Richard Sherman, former director. All three of them have been absolute unsung heroes during this time period. So I just wanted to thank you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other commentary? Well, very good. We'll move on to the next order of business, which apparently is the Peerage Committee mandate revision from Dan Watson.
Thank you very much. Rusty, could I share my screen, please? Look what that looks like when I'm seeing this.
He says, 1 moment, please.
Oh, there you go. It looks like I'm showing my screen.
Not yet, but you have
like
the ability to.
How about that?
There you go.
See what's going on here. Okay, so about 3 years ago, we impaneled the Peerage Committee, and this was the mandate that we gave to them. And I've highlighted for you. This committee will review the board's present procedure, determine whether any changes are needed, and suggest how any future proposals will be accommodated. The goal for this was to figure out how we would examine future peerages, the process of examining future peerages as a need arose. And so I will say that the Peerage Committee has been working very diligently on this. We've gotten some feedback to the board on a few occasions, talking about the way we think the process is going to work. And they certainly have not been. They've had an attempt. It was an abortive attempt at a survey a couple of years ago. Don't know how many of you remember that, but there was quite a bit of excitement over that. And so they've hunkered down and got back to work. Well, yesterday, the board of directors got a preview from some of the census information. I think Julia is going to have a little more information about that later in the meeting, but I want to give all of you out there a preview of it as well. There are a couple of questions I want to bring to the attention of the board and the attention of the people out there that were on the SCA 2020 census. One of them was, do you think there are people who should be peers but remain unrecognized because their specific endeavor is not covered by an existing peerage? We hear this a lot. So the question to the participants was, do you know people that you think are peers, but we don't recognize them as peers because there's not a peerage for them? And the response to that was pretty interesting. We had 43.6 people just outright say yes, 23% say no, and 33% say maybe. I would read that as about 77% of the people, the participants out there, think there could be peers that are out there either are or could be, depending on who that person is and what the peerage is, that could be a peer, but we don't recognize them because they aren't a peerage. It's not a peerage for them. Additionally, we took a look at, this is a question that appeared on the 2010 census and also appears on the 2020 census. We looked at, well, we have a bunch of different martial activities that are out there: combat and target archery, equestrian, other martial activities, target archery, thrown weapons, and how do people feel that these should be recognized? And this is how it breaks down. If you look at, I'll just explain really quickly. So each of these colors is a different martial activity. And this is the category for do not recognize. So for example, if you took a look at this, combat and target archery together, the do not recognize, about 17–18% of the people out there think we should not recognize them as a peerage. And you can go through all the different activities that are here. And so if you look at how people feel about this, there are some that feel that these activities should be recognized within laurel, some that feel they should be recognized within chivalry, some within the order of defense, some in a new peerage, each in a new peerage alone. Equestrian really stuck out there more than any of the others, or to recognize within a new peerage order. So I believe there is a lot of support out there for additional peerages. And so I'm going to ask the board of directors to change the mandate of the Peerage Committee to allow the Peerage Committee to bring proposals and recommendations to the board for the formation of new peerages. And so I understand there's a little bit of discussion that we'd like to see based on this. So I'd like to move that we change the mandate of the Peerage Committee to the following, as you see on your screen here. I'll read it if you'd like to read it, but Leslie, do you have the text for this? Just check.
Yeah,
I don't see
go
Leslie.
ahead. Dan, just to make it more official, please read it off. It's short.
Okay, in April 2017, the Board of Directors established the Peerage Committee to investigate the process of and need for creating new peerages. This committee will review the board's present procedure, determine whether any changes are needed, and suggest how any future proposals will be accommodated, and bring proposals and recommendations to the board for the formation of new peerages.
Great.
Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to second that.
We have a motion by Dan Watson and a seconded by Gigi Coulson. Is there any further commentary on this motion? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. Oh, I apologize.
Wait, we got commentary.
I guess I didn't see it. It's in the check box. Ross Bart, did you actually raise your hand?
Yes, I believe Director Dagerstrom beat me to it, and the president would like to say something as well. I'll defer to them first.
Mine was more of a thank you to Dan and the entire Peerage Committee that has been working on this. They have done an amazing job, really looked into a lot of great things over a very long period of time, and they've been waiting for some feedback from us. We've been waiting for the census, and I just really appreciate the way that those two committees have worked sort of in tandem, utilizing really great information that we'll hear more about later as well. But thank you.
Very good. John Fulton?
Yeah, I think it is important for everybody to understand the reality that this is a change to the committee's focus. This is not a promise. This is not a determination on how this will work out. This is not a decision on which plan or how plan or why plan. And the membership of the SCA as a whole will get a chance to comment on any proposals that the board decides are worthy of looking at. This is, please do not think that this is just totally a done deal and that this will happen in whatever form people have in their heads. This is still a process and it is still ongoing, and there's been no decision making other than to say, hey, committee, take a look a little bit farther than what you have and possibly present some stuff. Please don't take any more than that out of this right now. Thank you.
And Ross Bart?
As usual, the president of the SCA said it better than I could, so I'll defer.
Any further commentary? And again, if you do have commentary, please don't raise your hand like Jan just did. tell me, because I can't see. Your portraits are very small. Although I did see that. Go ahead, Dan.
So I'd just like to follow up with that also. You know, the process from here, the first thing that is likely to happen is that the Peerage Committee comes back. There's 2 or 3 ideas that they're looking at right now. They're going to bring something to the board, get some commentary from that, probably cycle through that a couple of times, and then you know, before anything gets done, this is definitely going to go out to the membership for commentary before any decisions are made. So this is the beginning of a kind of a drawn out process, but it's one that we use in order to make sure that we're moving forward in a way that is best for both the society and all the participants in it. Thank you.
Rick, I think we're still under a commentary. Motion's been made. Any further commentary? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor of this amendment to their focus, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. And Dan, I'd like to echo everybody else and thank you and the committee for all of the long-term hard work that's gone into this. I know that the results of the survey just can have you guys enter into another phase of, you know, your existence and all that. And again, I know that there's been a lot of background effort here, and you have our great appreciation.
Well, I'd just like to say also that you know, we've had a couple of different committees. The census has been a really big part of this, the Peerage Committee as well, and the board itself. And so all of these people have all put a lot of effort into getting where we are at this point and having a good path to move forward. Thank you.
Absolutely. Moving on to item 6, reports. And just for the folks tuning in, this is typically the point of the meeting where every officer will chime in with different happenings within their office. Obviously, they'll typically refer to the quarterly reports to do so. And every once in a while, even actually bring up a motion for or a request to change or a request a motion be made by the board. So moving on to item 6A, the president's report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just before I start real quick, I sent a letter out to all the corporate and society officers and said, for goodness sakes, be succinct and stick to this format. And if I stray from this, they will probably all throw things at me. So I have no requested board actions, no policy interpretations, no new policy. My commendations, I would like to thank everyone who's continued to work, assist, and help others during these troubling times. This is all of this is so much more than the SCA, but it is still all our lives. So many people have held a hand out to others that it is almost too impossible to comprehend. Thanks to those who are there and inspire everyone. My publishable summary, fall of 2020 is here and kingdoms have continued to function as best as can under the circumstances resulting from the virus. The board and its offices will be studying how to help the kingdoms reopen. However, as so many things are still up in the air, the SCA Inc. and all groups are dependent on the modern legal requirements for meetings and holding events. The board announcement regarding suspension of all in-person SCA events is found here. That'll show up later. It's been published before. There are a few kingdoms now that are allowing, for instance, following all modern things, fighter practices in some meetings, but the prevailing reality is that protection and safety of lives comes before the society activity. However, there will be assistance and guidance available for the kingdoms and groups as the real world continues to change. On the other hand, the society presence continues to grow online. Courts, classes, meetings, etc., are ongoing. The official Society for Creation anachronism Facebook always contains very good information. I urge everybody to take a look at it. The new website is updated. Take a look at it. I do mention several current SCA related YouTube channels. We have the SCA related. Ethelmark has one. Eldemir has one. There's one in the SCA based on just entertainment. Kingdom websites and Facebooks are very active. Classes and discussions on almost anything can be found. This is all being done to hopefully enhance our lives and spirits a bit nowadays. People also can learn something. The last of my report says this is a blatant commercial, of course, but I think a worthwhile one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Moving on to the IT manager, Rusty.
Good afternoon. I hope you all can hear me. Just in the really quick format indicated by the president, so I don't get in trouble. We have no board actions, no interpretations, no new policies. My commendations go out to Renee Signorati, Teresa Anderson, David Dubray, and Marla Lesson for their day-to-day work on the website and other technology to keep our web services running. Also, I'd like to commend John Fulton and T.S. Morgan for their counsel over the last quarter, and Renee for all of her work on getting this streaming initiative up and running. Without her, we would not be able to do this, so thank you very, very much. Publishable summary. We are trying to move forward with technology in the SCA and, of course, save money as much as possible. So we have been working on ways to stream the board meetings, which you are all attending now. We also encourage the populace, for those of you on the phone and those of you in the meeting, to donate pictures to show the different wonderful aspects of the SCA. We're also, again, just continuing to look for ways to lower costs and improve functionality for all the corporate officers and members. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And actually, I'd like to also thank you for spearheading the effort that you see in front of you. For the folks online, Rusty was the person who vetted out different possible ways of presentation, organized several tests to make certain that we could accomplish what we wanted to accomplish for the good of our role as directors in the society and officers. And I like to specifically thank Rusty for all his hard work in making today happen. Moving forward, Society Communications Officer Kelly.
Hi everybody. For my report, no requested board actions, no policy interpretations, no new policies. Commendations. I wish to thank John Fulton, Bridget Costello, Sarah Covert-Chapman, and for their guidance and their assistance. Special thanks goes to Maya Nelson for being awesome video editing and for always being available when we need her. General status report, the Office of Communications is moving along steadily and helping where requested. Publishable summary, the Office of Communications is continuing to support and facilitate communications throughout the known world in conjunction with social media. We are looking at expanding our virtual presence through video and online access to training. Thank you.
Very good. Any questions? Okay, moving on to the Society Social Media Officer, Bridget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No new actions as requested by my office. We will discuss new policy work in the section for the committee. We've currently produced the deliverables for the 5 areas requested by the board. And that material may be presented out of session if that's the preferred approach, given the timeframes of our meeting. You will forgive us with a slight list of extensive commendations, given the focus in our office at the moment. Continuing recognition must be paid to the ongoing efforts of the Kingdom's social media officers and their teams who are working tirelessly to assist their kingdoms at their time. Mistress Ellen DeLacy, Order of the Pelican, for her processes and support and facilitation of online courts and vigils. The Honourable Lord Amir Demanders and his partner Pierre for their work in the creation of a Zoom bot to facilitate breakout rooms, management for online events. The Kingdom of Edelmar's YouTube channel and their team. In September 2020, that particular channel saw more than 1.2 thousand views in that 28-day time period. And that means that people have been watching about 111.5 hours worth of video. The Kingdom of the Middle's Royal University of the Midrealm, which is seeing almost daily classes provided. Also the work of their Dragon Herald and Deputy, who's provided significant assistance in the management of the Midrealm online courts. Lady Givalka Flocadortha of Ansiora takes initiative for several things, including generating virtual court announcements suitable for Instagram and the web, helping to draft responses to high-tension posts, moderating the Kingdom group and live court comments. Lady Seleth, who leads the Kingdom Social Media Office for the Outlands, having strengthened and supported it for her successors. Of After Nights Live, who continues to create new content across the known world. Baroness and share her knowledge of making and managing online events. Our silent heralds, who are holding weekly online practices to make our game more inclusive for others. The technical wizards behind all of the online content currently being created across the known world. This allows our hosts to fully focus on the conversations they are having. Your work is invaluable and the known world is grateful for your service. Every teacher, artist, entertainer, trainer, coach who gives of their time to share in the online world. The Sisters Interview channel, who are continuing to provide greater insights into the known world through the Sisters Interview, Branch of Laurel's Grace Under Pressure, and interviews with a murder of dukes. Countess Beatrice Maria Malatesta and Countess Lillian Benhizir, and the sitting crowns of the known world, who are making the SCA a little bit bigger and a little bit closer through their conversations. Outlands Royalty, insights into what is reigning is actually like from people who have sat on the Outlands throne. The continuing work of the Known World Entertainment Guide team, who help share the spotlight on some of the amazing work being created and shared. Get your content in now. I'd like to recognise Talisha Tingley, Katie Blevins, Robert Van Rens, Joshua McDonald, Spencer Waddell, Ross Thompson, Lynette Neusbaker, Van Carter, Jim Miranda for their time, experience and insights. John Fulton, Ross Rayner, Gigi Colson, Liz Schreier, Jessica Van Hatten, Kelly McGill and Sarah Chapman for their ongoing support. Leslie Fulton and Renee Signarotti, we would be lost without you. In terms of our general status report, we have attached information to the board on the general performance of our channels. They remain stable, which is really positive, given some natural fatigue which is occurring. There is being significant work and time undertaken from the Social Media Committee. A new Society Diversity and Equity Inclusion page was established and has provided a really valuable channel. We are asking all social media people to take care of themselves because people are tiring. We are going to be focusing on assisting with self-care strategies over the next month or so. KSMOs and their teams have been really proactive in the management of official online spaces as tensions heighten. We're seeing occasional impacts of the outside world impacting on our sort of game in itself, and we thank all for their continuing kindness and patience. And we continue to do more promotion and education on the office. Instagram continues to boom, and we are looking to establish a training deputy for this office. There is so much content being produced right across the known world. I would simply ask you all and draw our community's attention to the SCA Virtual Classroom, Virtual Fighter Practice, and the Known World Entertainment Guide. People are continually sharing time, skill, and knowledge at a rate we've never seen before or shared in the online space. So thank you all.
And thank you. Director Regner, I think you have something you wanted to say.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bridget, what time is it where you are?
Yes.
Waving at you from Lockhart at the moment. It is currently 4:52 a.m. and I joined you at about 3:50 a.m.
For the second day in a row.
Yeah.
For the second day in a row. I would like, now that I have the floor, to do this. Mr. Chairman, I move to commend Bridget Costello, known in the Society as Baroness Anne de Tournai, for her stellar work and leadership as Society Social Media Officer. Bridget has been instrumental in updating our social media policies, as well as demonstrating remarkable poise and grace in an unprecedented time. Bridget, you have been truly amazing, and I would really love it if we could take this opportunity to formally commend you and spread that commendation out into the internet.
Absolutely. If I could, yeah, we have a motion by Ross Regner, second by
Natalie
Degerstrom. And by consensus, I would agree, and all the board agrees that you've done an amazing job under difficult circumstances. You know, certainly time frame and everything else. We really appreciate your time, and thank you, Ross, for making that commendation public and official. Very good. So moving on, we are to the report of the Society DEI officer. Jessica, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And yay, Bridget. So I have no requested board actions, no new policy interpretations, no new policy. I do have a really hefty list of commendations that I will do my best to get through very, very quickly. So I would like to commend the members of the DEI training work group. So that would be Karen Ariana Casper, Christopher Sweets, Donna Hoffman, Kim Browers, and Laura Cantino on their work in facilitating a plan to bring us digestible digital trainings. Ariana in particular has been really amazing and indispensable in adapting our first module about privilege, which will be publicly available soon. A new initiative, the DEI topic panels, was the brainchild of Olivia Trevisana, and I'd like to commend not only her for her work in bringing it to life, but also the other members of the very first panel, which is Gigi Colson, Sada Prescott, Spencer Waddell, Araya Hume, and Emmy Wedeking. I probably pronounced that wrong, sorry. We ironed out a lot of the potential issues and handled some things on the fly, and I'm so, so proud of everyone involved for their work, not only on this panel, but across the many aspects of equity and inclusion that they excel in educating and promoting. To the folks in AdvoCal running and participating in the BIPOC and AdvoCal page, thank you so much for creating a space for education and discussion. To my mod squad, I could not make it through these weekly segments without you, and you're all divine. All DEI officers stepping up at kingdom and local levels, thank you for taking on the challenge of a brand new office during such a contentious time. You're all doing amazing. To Bridget Costello, Sarah Chapman, and all social media officers, thank you for handling such a fast-paced, ever-changing field with grace and aplomb. And then to Drew Nicholson, Olivia Travisiana, and Joseph Radding, your assistance, support, and counsel remains invaluable to me every day in this role. Thank you so much for all you do. So my general status report. The world of DEI and the SCA has seen some exciting new developments. There is now an official DEI Facebook page. This is the only official presence for the DEI office on Facebook, aside from anything posted to the main official SCA page. So you can check there for classes and updates and any messages from myself or anyone associated. Additionally, we do regular weekly segments on Wednesday evenings. They're called This Week in DEI. We've had interviews, panels, classes, roundtables, a lot more. There's also, as I mentioned, a monthly panel series, 4 to 6 weeks, that will allow participants to speak to their experiences surrounding equity and inclusion in the SCA. They speak for themselves. They do not necessarily speak for this office. I continue to teach various classes on topics related to DEI, as do many of our Kingdom DEI deputies, officers, council members, and many others. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you would like to know more about when these classes are, or if you're interested in scheduling anything for your area, and I'll do my best to facilitate that. Thank you.
Thank you for the efforts of yourself and your office. I think we have John Fulton, who has his hand raised.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to say something very brief. Rusty, Jessica, Kelly, Bridget, to everybody who had to take on a lot more responsibilities when the SCA shifted from live actual events, shaking hands and stuff, to an existence where we look at a lot of little pictures on things like Facebook. I want to thank you. I also want, the DEI office is still working on a great deal of things. If you have any questions, and there seem to be some misconceptions, the only thing I could say is actually watch one with Jessica and see what she actually says, as opposed to, like she said, there's a lot of unofficial stuff. Look at this, because I find it to be very worthwhile and very needed, and it can be a tough position. But for goodness sakes, if you're gonna, play a game online, spend 15 minutes watching her and listen to her actual words and not something that is hearsay, because this is very important stuff in today's world. And thank you, Jessica, for what you do.
Absolutely. Anybody else? All right, we'll move on to the next report. Actually, the Society Senatorial report. Liz?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's see. Requested board actions. My first one was to approve the SCA sanctions guide, which you've already done. My second one is please approve revisions to the SCA firearms policy. That was previously passed by the board in 2016. One of my predecessors had put that through and then amended a bit in 2018. It's a society seneschal policy that lives in the seneschal's handbook. It's rather long, so unless you want me to read the entire thing, I'll just summarize.
Please summarize, yeah.
Okay, yeah, most of it is pretty much unchanged. With all respect to my predecessors, they were both lawyers, and I translated some of it from lawyers speak to English and condensed it a bit, but it says the same things. The main thing I did was emphasize something that was really already there, which is, I will read that part. Any displays of pre-17th century firearms must be static in nature, and the firearm must not be functional or displayed in such a manner that anyone other than the owner can handle it without express permission. Such firearms may not be charged or discharged at an SCA event, whether with live ammunition or blanks. No ammunition, wadding, or black powder is permitted on site. There is one exception for the Penzic cannon, which is grandfathered into this regulation. That was part of the old one, but the wording was not as clear. So I've cleared it up. That is the basically the summary. The board has seen the entire policy. I would ask that the board approve the policy rewrite.
Great. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve the modifications to the firearms policy as presented by the Society Seneschal.
We have a motion. Is there, we have so moved by John St. Dennis, seconded by T.S. Morgan. And I'm asking for a commentary now. And Renee Signorati, did you have a comment on this?
I do. If you accept this, I will need an errata sheet for the Seneschal's handbook, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other commentary? Let's see any. So, being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Liz, did you have further? Yeah, please.
Yes, moving on. Let's see, we covered the group dissolutions, policy interpretations. I had two of them. You've more or less upheld them, I guess, by your previous actions. The first one was due to a question that arose after a kingdom action. I reviewed corpora and the sanctions guide regarding administrative sanctions or administrative actions. They're called both of them. Sanctions guide, as it was written before you approved the new one, only mentioned suspension or removal from an office. My interpretation was that actions that for a set period of time limit a person's participation in activities that are within an officer's purview could occur after consultation with the Crown and relevant society officer. The most common example of that would be pulling somebody's fighter card for a period of time. There are other things too. As I said, that's in the new sanctions guide that you already approved. I believe the board has to uphold the policies though. And the firearm policy was a question arose whether the SCA could sponsor an event which involved firing black powder weapons at a shooting range. And my interpretation was that our rules do not allow for that. Again, these are things that are covered in the new policies rewrites, but I believe the board has to still uphold the interpretations.
Great. I assume then we need a motion to uphold these interpretations.
Do we need to do them separately or can we do them together?
Leslie says separate.
So as before, Liz, then please indicate each change and
Okay.
we'll do each as it comes up.
Okay, the first one was the administrative sanctions interpretation, that these can include things other than simply removal or suspension from office in consultation with the appropriate officers.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept this interpretation from the Society Seneschal regarding administrative actions as stated.
Second.
We have a motion by Gigi Colson, seconded by Natalie Degerstrom. Is there any further commentary on this matter? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Please continue.
Okay, the second one regarded the firearms policy, the Society Seneschal's firearms policy. It was an interpretation that an event allowing shooting at a shooting range with black powder weapons was not permitted by our rules.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the Society Seneschal's interpretation of the black powder issue as stated.
Second.
So moved by DG Colson, seconded by TS Morgan. Any further commentary on this? No further commentary, so I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay. I have no new policies. Commendations. I would like to give my deepest thanks to John Fulton, Renee Signorati, Leslie Luther Fulton, and Patrick Anderson for dealing patiently and usually cheerfully with my many, many questions as I've moved into this role. I want to give special thanks to Leslie for going way above and beyond and helping me sort out my first report to the board. I also want to commend Mistress Kalisa Charanova, Kim Haney-Kraling. Mistress Kalisa recently stepped down after a successful term as Glen Aubyn's Kingdom Seneschal, and basically, I guess, drew a sigh of relief and then immediately volunteered to help me in any way that her considerable skills might be useful. So she's working on some stuff for me. On a similar note, Mistress Honora Draper, Kristen Kozort, I apologize if I didn't get the last name right, has stepped down as Kingdom Seneschal Meridias. She has been a pleasure to work with. She's been calm and level-headed in difficult times and submitted supremely well-organized paperwork too. And finally, I would like to commend Ilva Jarlkana Jan's daughter, Deanna Lewis, who is a lovely and supremely organized lady who's helping me with some special administrative projects. I have some commendations from Lori Parker, my YAFA coordinator. She did not want to give her report herself, so I'll read those. I am going to butcher these names. I am not a herald. She would like to commend Kevin Wolf, Bladen Droog Karendith for his continued support of the program in Ontier and for his work on updating and revising current worksheets. This one I can get. Karen Parker Buchanan, Catherine of the Doves, for her contributions to the growth of the program in Atlantia. Sherry Smith Lambert, Isgarth Bjarger daughter, for her willingness and work in getting YAFA up and running in Artemisia. Her work in the youth problem of Artemisia is noticed and appreciated. And Bill Litwin, Taliesin Aphavgan, for his continued support and activities in support of YAFA in Ontier. Particularly, she would like to thank him for stepping up to be a part of YAFA in the Principality of Tiree. I will briefly mention I had reports from the Society Shadlin, Ann Stevenson, Giovanna Adamari. Most everyone has reported that events, meetings, and other activities have shifted online. There have been a lot of A&S classes, often geared toward newcomers. This has been one of the silver linings in COVID. YAFA coordinator Lori Parker, Alison Thurgerson, Nayla Fev, and I'm sorry if I butchered that one. The program has essentially been on hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Work has begun gathering instructional videos to place on the YAFA website. This should bridge the gap caused by the current no event state we are in. It is my hope that the library will become a valuable resource for YAFA and youth in general. And my own publishable summary, finally. This has necessarily been a quarter of transition for this office. I appreciate all the help and advice I have received as I assume this role. Work is proceeding on finding effective ways to communicate with the Kingdom Seneschals on a regular basis, as well as on clarifying society procedures for investigations into potential violations of our code of conduct. The sanctions guide was updated this quarter to clarify some areas. A new investigator's guide and a revision to the Seneschals handbook are in the works. It has become a cliche to say that we're living in unprecedented times, and yet it's true. Nearly all current SCA activity is being conducted online right now. Good things have arisen from this. The increased availability of arts and sciences classes and online Bardic circles to a much wider audience comes instantly to mind. But it is also incumbent upon us to remember that everyone is stressed right now and may not always be at their best. Let's please be patient with one another and remember that at least 90% of all problems begin with communication gone awry, which happens much more easily on social media than in person. We all look forward to the time when we can once again meet and interact face to face. Meanwhile, stay well, stay safe, and remember that basic courtesy has always been one of the core values of the SCA. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much for that very complete report. Any commentary or questions? I don't see any, so we'll go ahead and move forward to item B, Vice President of Corporate Operations, Renee.
Thank you. My request for board action is that the board consider removing Kingdom newsletter access from behind the paywall and make them available to all viewers regardless of paid member or not.
Very good. We can move forward with that before the rest of your report. Any commentary on that or any motion, please, Director Regner?
I have some commentary. I've spoken to several members about this, and I just wanted to mention that I think that we are going to see even better engagement with publication if we do this. If we bring this thing out from behind the paywall, out from members only, as our Vice President is suggesting, I think we're going to get a lot of added benefit there. I think there are going to be a lot of people who don't normally contribute to the newsletters in their kingdoms coming forward to help out, provide new content, and I think it's really going to enhance the member experience. And I don't think it really drives membership revenue in and of itself, as we saw from some of our preliminary data from the census. So I think this is a really good, strong move, and one that we should definitely take.
Very good. I have a hand up from Vice Chairman St. Dennis.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it is time to do this. I'd just like to caution the membership that it won't be an instantaneous change. There's probably a couple of technical things that have to happen in the background to make this happen, but I agree that we need to move forward with this.
I'd like to point out that it is going to take, I'm shooting for January 1. If it can be done sooner, that's even better. But this will not preclude everybody having access via email, or people that subscribe to the paper copy will continue to get their paper copy. Nothing is going to change other than people will not have to log in with their membership login information at all. It'll just be there.
Great point. Patrick Anderson?
Yeah, just a quick bit of history. When this was originally created, I was involved with this. The plan was we use the electronic newsletters to help save money. The original expectation was, again, everybody get their own Kingdom newsletter. That has evolved to everybody gets everybody's Kingdom newsletters. This is simply a really good evolution of that plan. You could always order somebody else's newsletter. You could always get access if you want to pay money. Well, as long as we're giving them out for free to people, let's do it for all members. Just pull it out of the paywall. Sorry, for all people.
Thank you very much. John Fulton?
It's pretty rare to have the board do something that has almost universal support from all the officers that are actually frigging doing this. There is, I mean, I guess there'll be some folks who may have problems with it, but as Bart and other people have said, this is phenomenal in terms of access to our website itself, right? Now, when we give people, instructions, why don't you check out the SCA website? Everybody sees everything. Everybody sees this. It won't affect, of course, TI and CA. Those are very specific things, but our newsletters suddenly have a chance to blossom into something that will be seen by literally the world. So it's rare to see something where we all just kind of, yeah, this is a great thing, and I am kind of in awe of this and how simplistic this kind of answer can be done. Thank you very much, board, for approving this.
Very good. And for my part, as the director, as the chairman doesn't typically vote other than in a tie, I would like to indicate that I also am firmly in favor of this. Director Regner, do you have another comment?
Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned it when I had the floor earlier. Thank you for recognizing me. I do want to say if we do this, we probably do need to talk to our seneschalate. Liz, you may want to talk to your Kingdom seneschals. I know that there's some Kingdom laws that specifically mention access to newsletter as part of the requirements for Crown. I've seen that before. They may have removed it, but we probably, if we do make this change, we probably do want to do a quick law review.
They would all have access, Ross.
Yeah.
I don't.
Exactly.
I don't understand.
Yeah,
Well,
but
Ross,
I think that it's as part of like a way to require membership. So some of those things may need to be rewritten.
Yeah, including a quick look at Kapora to see what it says about access and membership in those particular sentences. That's a great idea.
Great point. Any other commentary on this? Well, I believe we have a motion already. I can't even remember actually. Do we have a motion on this?
I don't think so.
Then I'd like to call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we take all of the Kingdom newsletters and move them out from behind the paywall, making them available to on the public part of the SCA website.
second.
We have a motion by Dan Watson, a seconded by Natalie Deckerstrom. Any further commentary on this? I'd like to call for a vote then. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Very good.
Thank you. I have no policy interpretations. My commendations, I would like to thank Roberta Tower for her dedication to the Exchequers community and her assistance with all matters involving banking for our groups. Roberta has been a great help wading through the many, many, many complexities of multiple banks and their varied requirements. Gloria Woodard, Publications Manager, would like to commend the entire publication team for the exceptional work they have done during the pandemic, and a very special thank you to Stacy Tibbetts, Countess Leonora Morgana, for her many years of service at the UC Riverside Library liaison for the SCA Special Collection and Archive. Publishable summary, I'd like to thank Roberta Tower for her dedication to the Exchequers community and her assistance with all matters involving banking for our groups. Roberta has been a great help wading through the many complexities of multiple banks and their varied requirements. Gloria Woodard, Publications Manager, would like to commend all of the publications team for their exceptional work. The 2019 audit, the corporate audit, is in the final stages of completion, and actually I can report that it has been completed. The board has been provided a draft copy of the auditor's report. The Membership Assistance Fund was created in the beginning of September, and several families have been able to take advantage of the program. Anyone that could use a bit of help maintaining their memberships are encouraged to contact the corporate office. There's no need to provide for financial need. It's as simple as contacting us for authorization and filling out a regular membership form. We've had an outstanding response to the request for renewing memberships and gifting memberships. This was definitely another testament to the loyalty and generosity of our members. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the TI report. I believe, Renee, is that you as well today?
That is me. Hang on one second. Okay, TI, no request for board action, no policy interpretations, no new policies, commendations. Darcy is particularly indebted to the Society Chronicler Stephanie Seitz, Ariana Stefana Falcone, for both her patience and her hard work in compiling the year's Black Fox Awards nominees and winners. She could not present the material in TI without her gracious assistance. She's also grateful for the assistance of Quest guest editor Fred Hartfield, Paganus Grimlove of the Kingdom of Kaid, and Quest contributors Kirsten O'Brien, Reckon of, I don't even know, the Kingdom of Kaid. As always, she cannot say enough about the continuing professionalism of TI's wonderful art director, Joyce Morris. And TI issue 215 has gone to press and been mailed, and 216 is in production. I should tell everybody, TI has been late, and once they were right in the middle of compiling the issue, and the pandemic struck, and a lot of the authors just kind of disappeared. So be patient a little bit right now, but they're trying very hard to get back on track. So that's it.
Thank you so much for that report. Moving on to the complete anachronist, Ellen.
Good. I'm so used to Zoom, I had to check to see where the unmute was. Yes, I should probably say right away, if it's okay, that yes, I have to admit, complete anachronist is behind also for the same reasons Renee said about tournaments illuminated, but I'll get to that in a second. No requested board actions, no policy interpretations, and no new policies. So that was easy. With commendations, I really want to thank, this is going to sound like the broken record, but every time I must thank Elise Fleming, and I really want to thank her so much. Also to thank Ian Walden as well for their copy editing work on CA 188 of Herd and Water, a Yuan, let me say that right, dynasty to say it American, Mongolian food primer. Again, thanking Elise because she is an amazing copy editor who turns things around ever so quickly. So just thank you so much, Elise. Unfortunately, I cannot yet thank Sue Gilbert for what I know will be her usual fantastic layout wizardry, simply because the author has had some real life delays. We're almost ready to go with CA 188, but there have been some real life delays due to everything that's been going on. But I hope to be able to issue those things very, very soon. And so to whet your appetite for the publishable summary, CA 188 should be, and I keep hoping, we will be able to get it out very, very soon, of Herd and Water, a Yuan Dynasty Mongolian food primer. And to just give you some highlights, especially to the audience, to whet your appetites, and I'm not punning on that, when the Mongolian horde rode through Asia, in addition to subjugating many countries to its rule, it also spread its cuisine throughout the continent. Two surviving manuscripts from the Yuan dynasty, that's 1279 to 1368, translated into English, provide a vivid account of Mongolian cuisine, including Chinese, Persian, Arabian, and even Turkish influences. The recipes included here have been updated and adapted for 21st century cooks, but they stick as closely as possible to the original Yuan techniques and ingredients. Now, these recipes have been successfully tried and tested on modern day consumers. So the recipes are available along with contextual details about them and advice on using them. They offer readers an introduction to the world of 13th to 14th century Mongolian food. So it's a bit different than some of the CAs that have been published recently, and I really look forward to getting it out there.
That sounds amazing. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm really excited for that one.
Go for it. No, I just, again, there have been, with authors, there are all sorts of real life issues. And for some, it's been things that suddenly their jobs have been extraordinarily chaotic and they're working extra hours, and working in unusual circumstances, of course, with children at home and whatnot, and homeschooling and all of that. So unfortunately, things have become delayed, but hoping that this will be out soon, and I'm trying to fast track another one that a manuscript that came in actually after I wrote this report that looks good. It's also on cooking, but this one is a medieval cooking primer going back to Western medieval Europe. And also, so though we may have two on cooking in a row, and also one that's going to be another translation. I hope you're not too tired of seeing translations from Middle English and early modern English into our late modern English. And this is of Caxton's The Game and Play of Chassa. So hopefully that'll be available soon too. That's it.
Ellen, I would like, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, but I would like to thank Ellen. She's also calling in from a different time zone. Ellen,
it's only 6:20 where I am though. So it's only 6:20 p.m. where I am though. So but it is very dark outside. we put our clocks back. We put our clocks back, so I'm only 7 hours ahead of California now.
Okay, next one, Society Chronicler. I don't believe Stephanie is here to give her report, so I will do it. Her requested board action, Stephanie is working on a survey question that was requested in the previous teleconference. She apologizes for not having it for this meeting, but would like to plan to have it available for a January 2021 launch. Okay. Policy interpretations. Upon discussing with others of the SCA governing body, she would like to make a change to policy that no longer requires the physical address of Kingdom Seneschals and Kingdom Exchequers to be printed in the Kingdom newsletter. Currently, Chronicler policy states that the Kingdom Seneschal and Exchequer both have their physical addresses printed. During the discussion via email, it was felt that many, if not all, business is now handled electronically. And if indeed something must be mailed, the individual may send their mailing address upon request. Main concerns were potential harassment and personal safety. I can't hear.
Craig, you muted?
Oh, I apologize. Was there any commentary on this request from the directors?
Natalie, I definitely agree with that analysis. I think in this day and age, we do not need to be sharing physical addresses with the populace. We've seen issues of doxing in the past, and I would like to continue promoting the safety of all of our volunteers and the populace in general. So I would definitely be in favor of that.
Any other commentary?
I recommend to the board you do this as soon as possible.
Very good. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to accept Renee's suggestion. Is it a? I apologize.
Renee, would you mind repeating the request?
The Society Chronicler, and let me find it again. She would like to make a change to the Chronicler's policy that no longer requires physical address for the Kingdom Seneschal and Kingdom Exchequers to be printed in the Kingdom newsletters.
Very
All
good.
right, Mr. Chairman, I would like to accept the Chronicler's policy change to remove the physical address from public view.
Very good. We have a motion by Natalie Degerstrom, seconded by T.S. Morgan. Is there any further commentary on this? Patrick Anderson?
Just to check, does that require a handbook change as well? Because I think that would have to be made as well.
Yes, that will, but she can present the future changed handbook if needed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that was just a reminder comment about that. I agree that she can do it later.
And Renee will need a copy of that also, yes.
Correct.
Excellent point. Any further commentary or questions? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
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 All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries.
Point of clarification. I just need to know who the second was on that.
Gigi, I believe.
Oh, the second was me.
T.S. Morgan, yep.
Sorry.
Nope.
No problem.
Very good. Let's see here.
Okay, she has no new policies, commendations. Her gratitude goes out to Daoud Bob Ibn Briggs for his generosity to the chroniclers of the known world, making available and permitting them to use their articles in all their newsletters. And publishable summary, overall, the known world chroniclers have done an amazing job taking their newsletters beyond publishing flyers. I'm so very pleased at the creativity I've seen and positive attitude presented. Mr. Chairman, I would ask that the ombudsman for the Society Chronicler get with her and about the policy change.
Very good. I will direct that director to do that.
Thank you. And that's it from me.
Very good. Moving on to item 6D, the Society Treasurer's Report. Mizelle?
Hi, I do have one requested board action, and that was to review and approve the 2021 SCA corporate office budget. If I might make a suggestion that the board hold off on this until I can get some additional information to see if we can lower that that negative number.
Very good.
To
I think we would all agree that, sharpening of the budget to be more accurate and hopefully to lower the negative number is definitely a worthy thing, and we'll definitely look forward to seeing the budget at a later meeting.
Well, I hope to have it to you at the December conference call.
Very good.
That's the plan. I have no policy interpretations, no new policies, commendations. Try not to cry on this one. To Edward Morel, Viscount Edward Safran of Gedney. Even though he's no longer among us, it was truly a pleasure to work with him while he held the Exchequer of Penzic office. And I know he's held many other offices, and I've known him for a number of years, and there's a loss there. There really is a loss there amongst the SCA. Okay. I also like to commend Roberta Tower for her job as Society Exchequer, and may you enjoy your retirement from this job. Take a break, even though I know you'll be staying on as the emergency deputy. General status report. The following kingdoms have completed their financial review of the books: Trimaris, Caid, Atlantia, Outlands, and Atenveld. For the very first time, these were all completed via online meetings. This was something that I had worked for a long time for us to be able to do this. It's definitely cost savings. We no longer have to travel, to them or them to us, or take big boxes of files to big wars and stuff like that to review their books. Being able to have everything done online has been wonderful. The Kingdom Exchequers will be utilizing the same process now to review their local branches with books too. And as a side note, all the kingdoms themselves went to QuickBooks this past year, and we have discovered what a very valuable tool this has become, being able to log in and see all their documentation, the receipts and invoices and vouchers, all available for us to see online. It's a great way for storing the documentation without having to have boxes of files anymore. The publishable summary. The following kingdoms have completed their financial review of the books: Trimaris, Caid, Atlantia, Outlands, and Atenveld. And there's been several more since this report. And for the first time, these were all completed online via online meetings. And the Kingdom Exchequers will be utilizing the process to review their local branches. I did forget to also state that I will be publishing online the executive summary report that I do for the board on the current 2020 budget. That will be going up online.
Very good.
And that is it.
Thank you so much for that report. Moving on to item D1, the Society Exchequers report. Roberta?
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Sure can.
Yes.
Great. I have two items for board action. One is to approve the Laurel financial policy. They did not previously have a financial policy, so this is brand new.
And it's
Mr.
listed,
Chairman.
I believe it's listed on, just so for everyone's edification, it's listed on the agenda as the College of Arms financial policy. Same.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to make sure we saw that. Go ahead, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move that the board accept the College of Arms financial policy.
We have a motion. Is there a second? So moved by John St. Dennis, seconded by Dan Watson. Is there any further commentary? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? This motion carries. Please continue.
Okay, then Glen Aubyn's financial policy and their PayPal policy.
I think we need to take care of these one at a time. There's
okay. The Glen Aubyn financial policy.
Very good. Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman, I move that the board accept the changes to the Glen Aubyn financial policy.
Second.
We have a motion by John St. Dennis, seconded by Dan Watson. Is there any further commentary on this? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board accept the Glen Aubin PayPal and event registration site financial system policy.
Second.
We have a motion by John St. Dennis, seconded by T.S. Morgan. Any further commentary on this? There being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Please continue.
Okay, I have no policy interpretations or new policies. For commendations and publishable summaries, I'd like to commend all of the Kingdom Exchequers for their work during the pandemic. Even though activities have not been taking place in person, the job of the Exchequers has continued with taking care of ongoing expenses and figuring out how to pay for them and generate additional income. It has been quiet throughout the kingdoms as groups struggle with finding ways to keep people engaged with meeting restrictions due to the pandemic. The Exchequers have continued working and sending in financial reports and NMR reports. There have been a lot of questions about appropriate fundraising during this time. The Kingdom Exchequers have now been using QuickBooks Online for this year, and we have finally settled on which reports to pull for the quarter. And the third quarter report should be more consistent. This is my last board report as Society Exchequer, and I would like to thank Renee Signorati and Mazel for their support during my tenure.
And the board thanks you for your service. I believe we have a commendation from Bonnie Stringer, actually addressed to you. Mazel, did you want to read that for her?
No, Bonnie's going to go ahead and read it.
Oh, Bonnie's here. Okay, excellent. Bonnie.
Hey everyone, I just wanted to thank Roberta for all of her service as not only Society Exchequer, she was and Tears Exchequer. I especially want to thank her for her counsel that she's going to be helping me as we make this transition. Whether she knows she's going to be there, she will be. And her work around getting the electronic fund transfers passed through the board, so we can continue to move the society forward with banking in general as we are in the modern world. So Roberta, thank you so very much for everything.
Thank you. I do have my NMR report as well.
Very good.
Okay, we have reached 100% reporting for the years 2017, 18, and 19. And the first half of 2020. All Canadian events have been converted to U.S. money at the time of money submission. Drachenwald reportable events will be reported with the fourth quarter data.
Terrific. Does that end your report now?
That ends my report.
Very good. Thank you very much. Again, I'd like to echo everyone's thoughts. I mean, thank you so much for doing such a great job in such a difficult office. Moving forward to item E, the report from the Laurel Queen of Arms, Julia.
Hello, thank you. It's a pleasure to actually get to talk to you, even if it's via, this exciting way of doing things. Thanks for approving the policy. Our last policy was hopelessly out of date and completely out of compliance with modern exchequery here. So we have a group of board approvals for our changes to Senate and the admin handbook. That is our rules. The first one is to allow registration of fantastical animals from non-European cultures. We allow them from European cultures, and this is part of a move to be more inclusive, to allow changes, additional changes to the non-personal name section to allow for the use of modern languages other than English where the SCA branches are doing business in languages other than English. You've already approved this same stuff for personal names, that is the extension of our lingua anglica to lingua societatis to allow for German to be used in German-speaking locations, Swedish, etc., and increasing the number of names and armory items that an individual may register from 6 up to 10.
Very good. So you're asking for board approval for each of these, correct?
That is correct.
Well, I'd like any commentary on any of these items. once again, for the audience, the board has seen this for many weeks. So
Yep.
there being no commentary that I'm seeing, if you want to just go ahead and, as we've seen before in other reports, list off one at a time, and then we can make some motions.
Certainly. So the first one is to allow the registration of fantastical animals from non-European cultures.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we allow within the Society Herald's world to allow fantastical creatures not from European cultures.
Second.
Thank you, Director Watson, for that very excellent motion.
Sometimes you just get stuck.
Yeah. Sometimes you do. Seconded by John St. Dennis. Any further commentary on this? Being no further commentary, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Please continue.
Okay, so the second one is a second change to the standards for evaluation of names in Armory. There you have the right name, which are changes to the non-personal name section to allow for the use of modern languages other than English in cases where the SCA branches do that business in languages other than English.
I would like to make a motion to accept the policy change as presented.
Well done.
Yes. So moved by T.S. Morgan. Is there a second?
Yes, second.
Second.
Seconded by John St. Dennis. Any further commentary on this motion? There being no commentary on this motion, I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. On to the
Mr.
last.
Chairman,
Yes,
Mr.
please.
Chairman, can I confirm that Leslie has the language here?
I'm good.
Thank you.
On to the last, please.
The last one is for the administrative handbook, and that is increasing the number of names and Armory names or Armory items that an individual may register from 6 to 10.
Very good. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, oh, go ahead, Gigi. All yours. All yours.
Mr. Chairman, I move approve the number of Armory registered submissions from 6 to 10.
And names.
And names.
Second.
Right. So moved by Gigi Colson. Seconded by T.S. Morgan. Any further commentary on this? There being no further commentary, I would like to call for a vote. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Please continue to report.
Thank you. So commendate, there are no additional policy interpretations. Commendations. First and foremost, I'd like to commend Alice McIntosh. She's just stepped down as Pelican Queen of Arms, and even as we speak, she's running a great version of Henry V on YouTube. Ever since she got involved in heraldry, I've been awed by her. She's one of the people I want to be when I grow up, and she occasionally does me the honor of saying she wants to be me when she grows up, which endlessly moves me. I'd also like to commend then the new Pelican Queen of Arms, Viscountess Elizabeth Turner de Carlisle. I've known her for years. I've watched her grow into the fantastic leader she's become. The new team is going to be amazing. So just a reminder, by the time you all meet again in a face-to-face meeting, I will have stepped down. My successor, Emma Featherston, and I will work together on the report because the turnover date is in fact January 1st. So we'll work together on the reporting, but you'll see her there. So continuing staff changes, as I get out the door, I'm trying to make sure all these get taken care of. But we'd like to commend Ursula George, outgoing palimpsest, the rules deputy who keeps you all busy, and the incoming palimpsest, Jean-Marie Lacroix. Both of them are just amazing. I'd particularly like to praise Ursula for her work on the gender neutral titles project. She's really been helping us to focus on our part of EDI issues. Jean-Marie's also going to be great. She was Wreath Queen of Arms a decade ago, and she'll keep us going. I want to also commend Serafina Delfino, who will be stepping down as Ragged staff. She's our staff person who makes sure all the paperwork is in order and keeps our decision meetings orderly and on track. She's been a dream to work with. She's proactive, she solves problems, she just makes things happen. Her successor will be Lily Dew, And she's also, I'm sure, going to be fantastic. Finally, I'd like to commend Marie Lemon, who's just about to end her term as our Silent Herald deputy. Those letters just closed. We don't have a successor name for her. She also was given the accolade of the Order of the Pelican a few weeks ago, so congratulations to her. General status, of course, it's been quiet. We continue to move projects forward, but of course, coronavirus is getting in the way of all kinds of things. So the publishable summary, I want to just say the known world has been so innovative as we've moved into the virtual realm. There are classes and collegiums happening all over the place, and heralds are doing amazing things to make this virtual known world a marvelous place. Quick note, the second paragraph is stray. It shouldn't be here. It was copied over from my previous report. Of course, the known world is already done and was a fantastic success. We're doing a lot of turnover. I've just told you about all of them. They're all fantastic. You know, as I said, these people are all amazing. I've known all of these people for years. They're going to be so amazing. I want to thank all of you really quickly for, it's been a pleasure working with you, especially with Dan, who has been an amazing ombudsman. Thank you so much for all your help. And of course, just a reminder, you're going to get to keep seeing me because I'm going to keep doing census stuff. So, you know, and I'll see you again in a few minutes to talk about that. With that, are there any questions?
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you for. As my dogs are barking in the background, I'll go ahead and. Sorry for that. Moving on to the minister. I'm sorry, the Society of Marshals report. Ray.
Hello, everyone. As you know, the marshaling endeavors have been cut back quite a bit, but let me run through my report. We got requested board actions, which the only board actions I had were rewarranting all the society deputy officers. Those, if you don't know, those warrants expire when the previous marshal stepped down, so they all need to be re-signed. Policy interpretations, we're kind of going over to a degree with the Society Senechals report. We had an inquiry for a new martial activity based on the possibility of having a live fire range and demonstration for black powder firearms. That was passed over to the Society president and the Seneschal for interpretation and clarification, which they did. New policies, there are no new policies this quarter. Commendations, like everybody else, I'm probably going to mangle some of these, so excuse me beforehand. I would like to commend the outgoing Society Marshal, Master Allen, for his diligent efforts for the last several years to bear the fighting in the marshalate community. Hope he enjoys retirement. He had a fairly long tenure, and would also like to thank Duke Vahalric for his contributions, his role as Armor Combat Marshal. He stepped down as well when Allen stepped down. So that position is open and we're currently looking. The other commendations from some of my other marshals, the Deputy Society Marshal for Youth Combat would like to commend Baron Anton Barsuk and Lady, I don't even know how to pronounce this, LJUFVINA of the West Kingdom. They both contributed very hard work in repairing Kingdom equipment, coming up with new ideas for youth fighters, and with the help of others have been encouraging their youth combat kids to stay active by watching YouTube SCA videos. The Deputy Society Marshal for Siege would like to commend the Siege Marshals for on tier as they continue to work on their target siege experiment and helping other kingdoms get started with it as well. The Deputy Society Marshal for Target Archery and Thrown Weapons would like to commend the Kingdom Deputies for Target Archery in Eldamir, Adenvelt, North Shield, Ostiora, Artemisia, Middle Kingdom, and Atlantia. He would also like to thank the Thrown Weapons Kingdom Deputies for Eldamir, Adenvelt, East Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, Ostiora, Artemisia, and Atlanta. These officers took time to report, and many of them have been working hard to try to make their passion thrive by designing virtual tournaments and making instructional videos. And the Deputy Society Marshal for Rapier would like to commend Master Tetsko for starting a group to discuss the use of spears and rapiers, spears in rapier. The group has grown in size and actively shows every indication of spears to be more widely adopted, which they have at this point. This went in a little beforehand. And then publishable summary. Martial activities is largely on hold due to the global pandemic. Some groups have begun allowing practice on small scale as their kingdom and local government policies allow. Fighters are using this time to work on gear and find creative online solutions for training and instructions. The incoming marshals has worked to update all the warrants and began to review the current policies and procedures. That's all I have.
Very good. Thank you for your report. Any questions about that report? Great. Again, thank you, and obviously thank your predecessor for doing such a great job in that office for so long.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Moving on to item G, Minister of Arts and Sciences report. I think Director Regner has that in front of him.
Yes. Richard Lamons, our Society Minister of Arts and Sciences, has no requested board actions at this time, no policy interpretations at this time. He is currently working with his office and several volunteers to begin to make a handbook for his office, and that will be a new policy that we will have to review at some point, but not at this date. He has a very thorough list of commendations, and I will direct everyone to go look at those personally. It should be published, and the summary of his summary is that arts and sciences is absolutely flourishing in our society right now. During the times of COVID, that community has found a really great opportunity to do lots of online things. There's lots of coordination between kingdoms and various offices within the arts and sciences community. Lots of really fantastic stuff is going on there. So good job, Arts and Sciences. That concludes that report.
Very good, thank you. Moving on to the standing committees reports. I can report that although there's no official report for the Finance Committee, at least certainly they have, and in particular, the chairman of that committee, Dick Sherman, has been very active relative to looking at our budgets and working with the society treasurer and exchequer and looking at different budgetary possibilities. Moving on to the Peerage Committee. Dan?
There's no report for the Peerage Committee other than what we discussed under new business.
Very good. I also believe there's no report for the Communications Committee. However, the Census Committee, Julia?
Yeah, so we have a release of data. So yesterday we shared with the board the first release of data from the SCA 2020 census, and it is my understanding that we're shortly going to be posting to the SCA website that information. So we hope that you'll find a lot of interesting information there. I know that we did. I know that yesterday you all did. And so just want to remind everyone, this is a first release of data. We still have a lot more data that hasn't been analyzed because it's only been 3 months since this closes. And I know that sounds like a really long period of time, but with 10,000 respondents and, a huge number of questions, it just takes a while. So this basically summarizes large amounts of the data from the first 2 censuses. We're not going to release stuff from the 3rd survey yet, the one that has DEI topics. That's because we're still doing data cleaning and sanitization on that, which is basically making sure that information isn't shared that would reveal people's identities, that information is appropriately coded. So there will be reporting on that, but it's going to take us just a little while. I want to quickly thank a couple of people. First, I want to thank you all. I want to thank the board of directors for your faith in our work and for the ongoing kinds of stuff. We want to thank the nearly 10,000 members of the SCA who graciously gave up their time to answer these questions. And then I want to thank especially a couple of people. I want to thank Dan. Dan, you have been a key member of this team. You have supported us. You've helped make everything happen. I cannot thank you enough. I also especially want to thank Trudy Crumpright, who has stepped up as my vice chair. She has been amazing. I cannot tell you, this project would not be where it is. It might not be done at all if it weren't for her. I also want to thank Kelly Campbell, who's been leading the quantitative analysis of the data, and Jim Meadows, who's leading the qualitative analysis. That qualitative analysis will be part of our next report to all of you. So thank you so much.
And thank you. Any questions or comments for Julia?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, oh, I'm sorry, Craig, I can wait.
Go ahead.
I would just like to say a big thank you to Julia, who also is stepping down as Laurel Queen at Arms today, for the tremendous work that she's done over the last several years, as well as the outstanding job that she and the rest of the team have done in putting together the SCA 2020 census. This is currently at a 1.5 year long project. People that started from the very beginning. We have a number of people involved besides Julia, Trudy also, and Kelly has been very helpful, and Sarah with the rollout. It's just been a tremendous experience seeing all these people that know what they're doing and are able to bring their expertise and knowledge here on the 2020 census. Just a huge project, and I think the board was really happy and pleased with the presentation you gave us yesterday, and they were really impressed with the professionalism that was exhibited by you and your team. So I would like to personally commend you along with the rest of your team. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So page 3 has the whole committee, and they're just amazing people. I couldn't ask for a better team.
Very good. And again, for this once-in-a-decade process, thank you for the 2 years, probably eventually be 2 years worth of service on this project. Moving on to the social media committee, I believe that Gigi would like to some words, as well as then we'll move it over to Bridget as well.
I just want to take a moment to thank Bridget and all the members of the social media committee for the work they did. Earlier in the summer, the board of directors adopted a resolution to form a social media committee to discuss and address some issues with a goal of having deliverables within about 3 months, which they met. They had 5 objectives: clearly defining the scope of review for SCA social media, establishing social media bright lines, which are clear standards and objectives, discussing corrective action guidelines that are proportional for crowns and seneschals to administer, also suggesting training programs for social media officers, seneschals, and crowns, and lastly, a strict definition of doxing. They provided all of those to us, and we're very happy with what they've given us. We will be working on editing and then forming a social media policy and then approving that in the coming months. So I'll turn it over to Bridget, who is the chair of the social media committee, to talk to you further on it.
Thank you, Director. So as Gigi said, there's been an extensive amount of work to make sure that we are delivering the board something that is functional, usable, and most importantly, easy for people to understand and implement. There is significant effort being involved in making sure that the principles behind our office and our decisions are transparent and understandable to our members and all participants who work in our online spaces. These are complex matters. There is a reason that the Office of Social Media sits directly with the Office of the Seneschal in our day-to-day game environment. It's because this is about people and behaviour, and our rules and our guidelines will continue to reinforce and educate on those matters. These are, however, complex matters, and as mentioned, I would like to propose that the board considers these papers in depth out of session for those final edits to make sure that we have a really workable product with which we can go out for commentary.
Very good. Again, as to echo Gigi's statements, I know that everyone else feels the same way. We've done an amazing job so far. We have a long way to go, but really appreciate your efforts as it applies to social media. Well, moving on to item 7 on the agenda, correspondence. LLF.
Nay.
It's me. And the correspondence that you've received has been answered. So everybody's good. Thank you.
Very good. Moving on to, actually, this is LLF. Moving on to item 8, executive session summary.
Mr. Chairman, here are your actions from your executive session, which was held yesterday. James Patterson, motion by Gigi Colson to degrade James Patterson from the Order of the Chivalry effective immediately. Second by Ross Rogner. In favor, Gigi Colson, Natalie Degerstrom, Ross Rogner, John St. Dennis, Dan Watson. Opposed, T.S. Morgan. Motion carried. Eric Botchner. Motion by Dan Watson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to, I'm sorry, I'm hoarse. Eric Botchner, effective immediately. Second by T.S. Morgan. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Sharon Christian. Motion by Gigi Colson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Sharon Christian, effective immediately. Second by T.S. Morgan. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Philip Gilbert. Motion by Dan Watson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Philip Gilbert, effective immediately. Second by Natalie Degerstrom. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Excuse me. Christopher Gilman. Motion by Gigi Colson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Christopher Gilman, effective immediately. Second by Natalie Degerstrom. In favor, Gigi Colson. Opposed, Craig Carter, T.S. Morgan, Dan Watson. Abstained, Natalie Degerstrom, Ross Rogner, and John St. Dennis. Motion fails. Alice Smith, also known as Joseph Ray Smith. Motion by Gigi Colson to revoke the membership of and deny participation to Alice Smith, also known as Joseph Ray Smith, effective immediately. Second by Ross Rogner. In favor, Gigi Colson, Natalie Degerstrom, T.S. Morgan, Ross Rogner, John St. Dennis. Opposed, Dan Watson. Motion carries. Dissolution of the Canton of North Pass of the East Kingdom. Motion by Dan Watson to approve the dissolution of the Canton of North Pass in the Kingdom of the East, effective immediately. Second by Gigi Colson. Opposed, none. Motion carries. SCA Ltd. R&D notification of William Arthur. By consensus, the board acknowledges and accepts the action of the SCA Ltd. Australia regarding the revocation and denial of membership and removal of all awards of William Arthur. Chairman assignment. By consensus, the board took no action. Vice chairman assignment. Motion by John St. Dennis to appoint Dan Watson to the position of vice chairman for the board of directors for the Society for Creative Anachronism, effective at the close of the October 25th, 2020 quarterly meeting. Second by Natalie Degerstrom. Opposed, none. Motion carried. Excuse me. Ombudsman assignments. By consensus, the following assignments will be considered effective. By consent, be considered effective at the close of the October 25th, 2020 quarterly meeting. Chairman, Craig Carter. Ombudsman 4, President, Society Seneschal Corporate Office, Executive Assistant, Financial Officers, and Financial Committee. Vice Chairman, Dan Watson. Ombudsman 4, Heralds East, Kaib West, the Peerage Committee, and the Census Committee. Gigi Colson. Ombudsman 4, Ethelmark, Avacall, Drachenwald, Eldemir, Locock, and DEI. Natalie Degerstrom. Ombudsman 4, Atlantia, Meridies, Middle, West, Marshall, and the Membership Committee. Jennifer Kochmal. Ombudsman 4, Callantyre, North Shield, Outlands, Communications Committee, and Information Technology, which includes the Webminister and Webmaster. Ross Rogner. One second, I got an error. Ombudsman for Artemisia, Adenbelt, A&S Publications, including TI, CA, and the Chronicler. John St. Dennis. Ombudsman 4, Board Recruiting, Ontario, and Stiora, Glenavon, and Trimaris. Board member resignation, T.S. Morgan. By consensus, the resignation of T.S. Morgan as a member of the Board of Directors for the Society for Creative Anachronism is accepted at the close of the October 25th, 2020 quarterly meeting. Board member appointment, Jennifer Crossmall. By consensus, the appointment of Jennifer Crossmall as a member of the Board of Directors for the Society for Creative Anachronism is accepted as of the close of the October 25th, 2020 quarterly meeting. October 25th, 2020 subsidiary minutes, action by written consent. By consensus, all actions for the subsidiaries of the Society for Creative Anachronism are accepted by written consent. Financial Investive Directive. Motion by Dan Watson to direct the Vice President of Corporate Operations to work with the SCA's financial advisor to realign our investment strategy to maximize income and reduce management fees. Seconded by John St. Dennis, opposed none, motion carried. Director selection, seat D, by consensus, no action was taken. This concludes the minutes I have for your executive session.
Very good. Thank you very much for that. As we move forward we're closer to adjournment now, I will say that we've only had a few questions come through over the course of the meeting. So as opposed to having everyone wait for half an hour for a break, we're actually going to kind of struggle through, and after we take care of a few more pieces of business, answer them during the course of this meeting without taking that break. Just so everybody on the call who's an officer or a director, please look in your chat for those 3 questions to familiarize yourself with those. As we move forward, we are at the end of the agenda. I think I'd like to take a few minutes here to thank our outgoing director, T.S. Morgan, for his years of service to the board in trying times with the pandemic, etc. T.S., I think I echo the thoughts of the rest of the board as well as the officer corps, and thank you so much for your efforts. Would you like to say anything before you step down? Maybe an off mute even.
I might even come off mute for my last day. I would just like to thank everybody. I learned so much from each and every one of you, and it was a very good experience. And I'm actually would like to try this again with a little better knowledge and hopefully do a better job at that point in time. But I would just like to thank all of you, and I hope to see you soon. I don't know when the SCA is going to start up, but I hope to see you at least before the fall of 2021. All right, thank you.
Knock on some wood there.
Thanks, TS.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
TS.
Again, we all have had a great time serving with you, and you've brought a lot of great wisdom and levity to the board that we've all appreciated. Moving on to our incoming. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President.
I just have a quick comment and question to TS. So what was it, TS? 4 or 5 years ago, we drove around in my car looking for energy drinks while you were visiting our group.
Yes.
Teaching us how to fight. And I explained to you what the process and job was. If you wanted to put in, was I accurate?
You were completely accurate.
Sadly so, but thank you so much.
And I was completely dumbfounded when you guys chose me. I was just shocked and awed that I fit the bill to be at this level in the SCA. And it was a great pleasure because the SCA has given so much to me. When I was younger, I was a little bit of a rapscallion, a hellion, and the SCA taught me manners, chivalry, honor, and integrity, and I was able to apply that in real life. So
very good. Well, again, thank you very much for your service. I'd also like to welcome our newest director stepping up as soon as the meeting adjourns. She is now would then be our newest director, Jennifer Crochmall. Thank you for your volunteering your years of service to the board of directors. I know this is the start of a long journey, and certainly you're starting in a time of unprecedented oddity as it relates to pandemic and all, but that this takes an individual with incredible amounts of courage and fortitude to do that. I know you are the right person for the job, and I would like to, on behalf of the rest of the board and officers, welcome you officially to the board. I'd also like to thank Vice Chairman John St. Dennis. John has served as Vice Chairman for the entirety of my time as chairman and the previous chairman as well. So the vast majority of his time on the board, he's been vice chairman, and he has done an absolutely outstanding job. As you may have noted in the executive session, John St. Dennis is stepping down after this meeting to be replaced by Dan Watson. If you can ever replace John St. Dennis. We just like to thank you so much for many years of service in a very difficult role, and you've just, I think, in my opinion, in my time on the board, have reestablished what that office does. You've refined things, you've improved things, and you've just brought such a hard work ethic to that office. I personally, as chairman, and I think I know the rest of the board, would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the job you've done.
Thank you.
So, having said all of that, we can go ahead and, as opposed to adjourning now, we can just probably go and do the Q&A really quick here, and then adjourn afterwards with no break in between. So looking at, and sorry to call the audible here for everybody on the call who might have to answer these questions, but I think it's better than making everybody wait for half an hour or more to do so. So if someone, Rusty, since you're the question gatherer and all that, if you wouldn't mind reading each question as they come up, and that way the folks who within our private chat that have kind of been assigned to do so, they can go ahead and start and do their answer.
Yes, the first question is, question on the Marshall changes to Corpora. Does this mean there will be a new edition of the SCA governing documents released soon? At least one of the changes was to the rules of the lists, which also means changing the Society Marshal's handbook and thus many of the individual Kingdom Marshal manuals, correct? Can you give us a sense of the timeline of these events so we can plan accordingly?
Very good. Mr. President, or would you like to take a stab at that?
Yeah, I'll do that real quick. Sure. Yeah, this change, the Corpora changes, the errata, the changes will be done, and the new version put out on the website, and I'm sure distributed through the Kingdom Seneschals will be done in a within a reasonable amount of time, a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks it takes to make sure that all of the copies are up to date. But yes, this will necessitate replacement of the copy of Corpora. That will be done as soon as possible. Of course, any questions on these changes, you should go immediately to the new Society Marshal and request explanation of exactly what this will entail. And if you have questions on the legality of Corpora, please contact Liz as Society Seneschal because her job is to interpret Corpora. But the copy should be very soon. But the new Society Marshal needs this exposure and the experience of dealing with people. Please do so. Thank you very much. That is a great question.
Thank you, John.
Been thrown in front of a bus? You have.
Yeah, I live under a bus with John, so.
As you can see, we all like to have fun.
Yeah, I think John threw the driver the keys on that one.
Very good. I think Renee has a comment.
Yeah, I didn't want to nail Ray right off the bat, but Ray, I need all those document changes as clean copy. And you know what? Call me this week and we'll talk about how to do it. I'll help you, Ray. Okay. Unlike.
Thank you, Renee.
I'm shocked that those are not already there. Wow.
I am glad there's a helpful person out there.
And that might be included in that, Renee. Ray.
Yeah, I think that's
very good.
Perfect.
Well, sounds like we have a great process there. So question 2.
Question 2, this actually came in twice. Question on the census data, when is this likely to be published? I found reading the 2010 breakdowns fascinating, and I'm looking forward to seeing the 2020 results. And also, what was the date for the first release of the census data?
Dan Watson has agreed to answer this one.
Well, the date for the first release of the census data is today, actually. While the meeting has been going on, we've been working back scenes, and Kelly McGill has already, while we've been talking, published this. You can go to the Society Facebook page, Society for Creative Anachronisms. You can find a link there, or you can go directly to www.sca.org under News and Announcements, and you'll find a link down there in purple a little farther down that also will take you to the census page. I haven't seen it come out on announcements yet, but I'm sure that'll come out when my email address or your email address comes up in the rotation there.
Very good. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Moving on to question 3.
Okay, question 3. Related to the policy change of removing the addresses from the newsletters, question was asked, if they are removed, how will complaints be mailed?
And I think this one may have been assigned to Liz in the comments. Hopefully she saw that. Liz?
Yeah. Okay, well, first of all, the only thing that's being removed is like street addresses. So email addresses will still be published. You can still contact your Kingdom Seneschal if you need to mail something to them. As a very last resort, if all else fails, you can always send it to the corporate office, and Renee and I will make sure that it gets where it needs to go.
Excellent, excellent answer. And that does end the list of questions asked during the meeting. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with adjournment. I would again want to thank all the officers and directors that have that attended today. Appreciate you spending 2 hours and 15 minutes of your life on here. I know that this was the very first of, I'm sure, many online meetings that we'll have in this venue. I think it went fairly well, but I'm certain we'll have an after action report to try to improve it further for the sake of the society. Renee, you have a question or comment?
No, I just want to take this time to tell you that you have done a terrific job. And John St. Dennis, splendid. Really, you made this seamless. So good job.
Very much. As I do this for a living, I know how seamless this was. So thank you all very much.
Thank everybody. Absolutely. Yeah. I think the team came together and we have a paradigm we can just improve on now. Well, very good. Well, since we are at the
Mr. Chairman
of the agenda, please, Director Degerstrom.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Oh, and seconded by a motion by Natalie Degerstrom, seconded by Ross Regner, and by consensus, we will adjourn the first ever web-enabled meeting of the Society for Creative Anachronisms Board of Directors.